At this point, you have finished outlining your informational essay and you're ready to get started writing. Today, we're going to start writing our introductory paragraph. Your intro paragraph is the first of 5 paragraphs in your informational essay. Every successful intro paragraph has 3 parts. The hook. This is the few sentences at the beginning of your essay that really kick it off. This is where you're going to capture the reader's attention and make them want to continue reading your essay. Context. In this short section, you're going to help the reader understand the background of the larger context. In this essay, you're going to want to teach the reader a little bit about your country before you describe its specific needs. And then you're going to end your intro paragraph by foreshadowing your argument or outlining your controlling idea and 3 supporting claims. Because it is so critical to a successful intro paragraph, this whole lesson is going to focus just on the hook. By the end of this lesson, you should have written 3 to 4 hooks that really capture the reader's attention within the first few lines. You'll choose one of those hooks to start off your essay. So, what grabs a reader's attention? What makes them want to continue reading? Well, there are a lot of different ways that you can hook the reader, that you can really grab their attention. But there are 3 emotions that you can appeal to that often make them want to continue reading. You can make them laugh. Some really powerful hooks are the hooks that make the reader giggle. It makes them enjoy you as a writer and want to continue reading or hearing what you have to say. You can make them think or wonder something that they've maybe never wondered before. Or some of the most powerful hooks make the reader feel a sense of empathy. Empathy is when I understand what another person is going through. Especially for this essay, starting with a hook that appeals to the reader's empathy, that makes the reader sad or angry for how much people are suffering in your country, might be a great way to start off your essay. So there are 6 different types of hooks that I'm going to teach you today. And then you're going to have an opportunity with a partner to choose 3 or 4 that might work for your essay. And you're going to write 3 to 4 different hooks. And then you'll choose one to start off your introductory paragraph. So the first type of hook that I'm going to teach you today is a surprising statistic. This is a statistic that makes the reader go, wow, really? Seriously? So one of the surprising statistics that I found in my research about Chad was that 87% of Chad is living below the poverty line. So I looked at what that actually meant, and living below the poverty line means that a person doesn't have the resources they need to survive. Like they can't actually survive day to day. They will die. And so I thought this was a really surprising statistic. So my hook is 87% of Chad is living below the poverty line, meaning they don't have the resources to survive day to day. So that hook is really going to grab the reader's attention. It's also going to allow me to move quickly into my context and talk about poverty in Chad and what they need. I can start with an expert quote. An expert quote is a quote maybe by someone famous or by a scientist or a researcher or a doctor. I chose for my expert quote actually the definition of sustainable development from the United Nations, because I thought that might allow me to jump in quickly to talking about sustainable development. And so my expert quote, my hook that uses an expert quote is this: the United Nations defines sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So I chose to start there to use that expert quote because I thought it was an easy way to really get the reader starting to think about sustainable development, and it allowed me in my context to start to talk about some of the sustainable development needs that Chad has. The third hook that I can use is going to rely on those tools that we actually learned in the first unit, our narrative writing tools. It is super fun to read an informational or an argumentative essay that actually starts with narrative. It gives the reader, it kind of tricks the reader into reading your essay. So I decided that I might write about the experience of a person living in Chad and maybe appeal to the reader's emotion here or create a sense of empathy in the reader. She picks up a handful of soil and rubs it between her fingers. Her home, Mao, a city bordering on the Sahara Desert, has been experiencing a drought. Sorry, there's two A's. Has experiencing a drought for months. She looks out at the wilting legume bushes, her family's only source of income. What are we going to do, she thinks. So that hook is going to allow me to quickly jump into the needs of the impoverished community in Chad. It also really plays with the emotion of empathy, right? It makes the reader feel sad or hurt for a person like this. So using your narrative tools might be a great way to start your essay. I can make a connection, and making a connection is all about thinking about what your reader is experiencing. So I want to start talking about something that I know my reader might be experiencing day to day that's going to make them think like, oh, I connect to this. I get this. This is an essay that I might want to read. So I was thinking about how much it rains in Seattle or how much it's been raining in Seattle lately, and I thought I might use the rain to connect to my reader. My friends and I have been complaining about the rainy climate of the Pacific Northwest for months. What we don't realize is that for most of the world's poorest countries, a long period of rain would be an answer to prayer. So I thought that might connect to my reader and then allow me to quickly move into the climate of Chad and why it's so impoverished because of the climate and their lack of rain. You can start with a definition. Definitions sometimes are hard, but I was thinking a little bit about my statistic about the 87% living in poverty. And so I thought I might define the poverty line as my hook, and that might really grab my reader's attention. Citing statistics about how many individuals or families in a particular area are living below the poverty line is common. Yet how many of us really understand what life is actually like below the poverty line? Individuals or families living below the poverty line are defined as lacking what they need: food, shelter, basic health care to survive day to day. So that allowed me to really jump into the statistics of poverty then in my context. Or, lastly, the most cheesy of all the hooks I'm going to teach you today is the clever question. And here's what I challenge you not to do. Try not to write this overly simplistic question that you could have written in second grade. If you're going to play with a clever question, try to be a little bit more imaginative about it. So I thought that I might start with asking the reader to think about what it would be like to go without their basic needs met. So I started with the question, have you ever imagined what it would be like to go without your basic needs met? Over 2/3 of the people living in Chad go without their needs met every day. Needs like food, clean water, a safe way to use the restroom. So here's your job right now. You're going to go back. All of these examples are on Schoology. I want you to choose 3 or 4 of the 6 different types of hooks. And in your composition notebook, in the grammar and craft section, I want you to write 3 to 4 different hooks. Don't start your introductory paragraph until you've written 3 to 4 different hooks. Really try on what is going to be the best way to grab the reader's attention to make them want to continue reading your essay. Have fun!